Hi everybody, you're welcome back to the channel. This is Hannah Tiga. If you're new here, you're very welcome. And if you're one of my subscribers and you're here again, thank you so much for always coming and supporting me. In this video, I'll be showing you how to draft a front button flare skirt. This video already has a part 1 where we drafted a crop top with front button, and this is part 2. Make sure you watch the part 1 of this video. So without delay, let's get cracking. Start by laying your pattern paper on the table and take 2.5 inches for your button allowance from the edge of the paper. And it's the same as the crop top we made in the part 1. You'll be taking 2.5 inches as your button allowance. 2.5 inches. Make the marking from the edge of the paper and roll your line. You want to go ahead and fold that bit in because for the back pattern we don't need a button allowance. You only need it for the front. So we're going to be adding our vertical measurement. As we're going to add band, we're going to be adding a band to the skirt, and the band is going to be 2 inches. So you want to place your tape measure like this, 2 allowance above the pattern start line, 2 inches allowance above the pattern start line, and you want to measure all the way down to find the length of your skirt. So the skirt I'm making here is 40 inches, but the paper is not enough for me. So I'm going to add the extra paper later in the tutorial. So let's assume the whole length of that paper is my skirt. So I'm going to go ahead now and start adding the vertical measurement. So place your tape like that, 2 inches for the band, and measure your waist to hip line measurement. So now the waist to hip line, whatever you have, you want to make the marking. Make your marking and rule a line across. Don't forget to place your tape 2 inches above the start line. So that's your waist to hip line vertical measurement. So rule a line across. Next, you want to start adding your horizontal measurement starting from the waistline. So your waistline circumference divided by 4. Whatever you have, you want to make the marking. Once you finish with the waistline, you want to add your hip line measurement. So your hip circumference divided by 4. Whatever you have, mark that as well. Then connect that waistline to the hip line and draw out your skirt. So connect your waistline to the hip line and draw that out. Now whatever you have on your hip line, you want to add the same at the hem of your skirt. Rule a line all the way down from your hip line, a straight line all the way to the hemline of your skirt. So that bit is gonna stand as your center front and your center back. That's your center front and the center back. The center front has a button allowance, but the back does not have a button allowance. Now for the pocket flap, as we are now making a real pocket, come down from the waistline by 6 inches. So from that edge of the paper, come down by 6 inches and go over to the waistline, top of that waistline, and come in by 1.5 inches. 1.5, then connect the 1.5 to the 6 inches. This is just a pocket flap and this isn't a real pocket. Now you want to find the midpoint. That's the midpoint. Then come in again by 2¼ inches, 2 1/4 inches. Make the marking. Connect those dots together with the line. So you want to connect from the waist to the middle point, right? Like that. Then go over to the hip line point there and come in by 2¼ as well. 2¼ inches. Connect the dots together and also connect to the rest of the flap. And that's how to draft the flap. If you want the flap in a different shape, you can. You can alter the measurements the way you want. Next, you want to transfer the flap to a fresh pattern paper. So I will transfer, then later transfer again. I'll be showing you later in the video. To find the center of the skirt, find the midpoint along your hip line, along your hip circumference, find the midpoint and make a marking. Then you're going to be ruling a line from the waist right down to the hemline. It's like cutting your skirt into two. That's what it's like. So we're dividing the skirt into two again. This is because we'll be drafting the flare skirt. As you can see, this skirt is still a straight skirt, so we'll be changing it and making it into a flare skirt. So this is the process. Once you've done that, you want to cut the skirt out. It is called the slash and spread method. You want to cut in the middle where you've drafted the line right up. Make sure you don't cut through. Yeah, it should be like this. Open it up more if it's difficult to draft. So now the distance between the two will be 8 inches. You can make use of 7 or 6 inches if you want, depending on how wide you want your flare to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and redraft the flap. So the pocket flap will be folded over like that. It should be placed on a folded paper like that. And I'm going to cut again, draft it and cut it out. So if you're cutting on your fabric, make sure the fabric is on fold exactly as the pattern. You want to add 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around except on the place on fold. Now, once drafted, this is what you should have. So by the time you stitched all the sides, the 3 sides, you should have something like this, guys. And you can place it on that bit, the front panel of your skirt, and apply a button there. And stitch down the top bit as well. So we're going to go ahead here. And as you can see, I've added extra pattern paper so I can draft out the skirt properly. That's the 8 inches allowance in between the slash. 8 inches. Like I said, you can use 6, 7. You can make use of 6 and 7 inches. But I want mine to be a bit wide. I want a proper flare skirt. So I went ahead and applied tapes to tape the patterns down before cutting out. And before cutting out, I had to apply 1-inch seam allowance on the side of the skirt, 1-inch seam allowance on the side all the way up. I went ahead and cut the skirt and extended the length of the skirt to 40 inches. So this is what the extension looks like. In case you find yourself in the same situation where your pattern paper isn't enough, just get another paper and extend your skirt or top, whatever it is. Remember to add the 1 inch for your hem allowance on the paper or on your fabric. I went ahead and did the labeling and cutting of the skirt band. For the band, you want to get a fresh pattern paper and make sure it's unfold. Place it on fold. We're going to be cutting the whole circumference of the band, but when folded, you will have half of your waistline measurement. I have the whole waistline here, but when folded over, you would have half of your waistline measurement. So you want to grab your ruler and just rule a line over there. Once that is done, you want to take 3 inches for the height of the band. The band is 2 inches, but when you take 3, you've included the 1-inch seam allowance. You want to connect the dots with a line. And once that is done, it's time to add your waistline measurement. Half of your waistline. You want to make the marking. Take 1.5 inches for the button allowance, the band button allowance, and rule a line. Once that is done, you want to find the midpoint of half of your waist circumference. So you're going to find the midpoint from there to the end of the fold. So you want to find the midpoint of that. Once you've marked the midpoint, you want to rule a line across like that. The place on fold represents the back of the band, while the place that is opened up is the front where you have the button allowance. From that bottom line, you want to mark 1 inch up. Mark 1 inch. Then on the upper line, go up by 1 inch as well and make the marking. Then you want to connect both to the middle line. So now these lines, new lines, are now the band line. So I'll scribble out the old one. That's the new band line. As the back of the skirt is higher than the front, so that is why the band is like this shape. The back of the skirt is higher than the front. So this is what you should have. For the band, you will need 2 pieces. So one for the front, one for the back. The 1 inch allowance is to join it to the other band and to the rest of the skirt. Now we've come to the end of the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching right through to the end. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then guys, look after yourself as always, and bye for now.